Headshot.
Hello, this is Naughty Bear, and in this tutorial slash game, we are going to focus once again, one more time, on the Zera tool game. Now, Zera tool is a fun hero to play, but in the beginning, it's not going to be dominating the ground or any other units. In fact, if you look closely at the upgrades and the effect of the nearby units, we have these Zera tools that are very offensive. 7 offense, 0 defense. No units nearby. They probably took down forts or units that are level 5 upgrades and are forced to retreat. Contrary, in this example, there are units to distract Zerg Swarm, and only the rearmost Hydras are attacking Zera tool because they have no vision of the Immortals. Now, this slightly weaker Zera tool, and being alone, does a lot more damage to those two in the previous example. But let's get back to the game. Now, I selected Zera tool because 3 players on the other side are pro level players, and there is 100% chance that one of them is going to choose Zera tool as their hero. And if I were stuck with Kerrigans or other heroes, the game would be very defensive in nature, and the options that would be presented to me would be very limited. So I chose Zera, hoping that we would be okay turning their waves around. Now you can see that in our previous example, Zera tool was kind of marching towards the enemy lane. There is another way to deal with enemy. My preferred way, if the circumstances allow, is to blink into the heart of the enemy. Of course, I wouldn't blink into that massacre happening on the bottom. I rely on the support heroes to soften down the wave, and then I would clean up their units with Zera tool, instead of just hanging out at the rear, at the back near Nexus, which is what most beginners do. They kind of wait until they have a few Zera tools or until they have level 5 upgrades or something like that. I tend to be very active with my hero. Unfortunately, as you can see, up on the top, they are dominating. They are taking out my bottom mid. These are new players that I'm playing with on my side. They're not very experienced when to nuke. And in fact, as I had later checked, they're not very experienced with upgrades. So while those carriers were level 5 upgrades, Corruptor on the other hand were 0 on the defense and only 2 on the attack, or some other way around. So we were way behind on upgrades. I dumped my money into Zera's second Zera tool because, quite frankly, I did not expect the enemy to push that hard because I wasn't paying attention to our upgrades. So what I could do differently next time is to pay attention more to the upgrades of my newbie teammates. Now, I have 2 Zera tools. Now I'm starting to become more effective with them. I can do more damage. Now, we are blessed with the fact that on top they only have 1 queen as a detector. And let's view this in slow motion. Now, what I want to demonstrate, or the point I want to make, check out these Zera tools that are killing ground units underneath carriers. Well, carriers are getting hammered in the process. This is because if Zera tool attacks or does damage to the ground units, the air units receive the splash damage. So my preference is to blink. Oh, look at this noobish Odin that walked right into our base. My Void Prism spell is not ready, but I will chase down the Odin and kill it. Hasta la vista, baby. Now, one of my ways to enter enemy waves is to blink into their heart, kill detectors, and then slash ground units that are underneath air. Of course, I have to factor in the ability of my Zera tools to survive. Now here, there are Novas, and Novas are doing pretty good damage with their snipe spell against Zera tools. So what I would do in this case, I would reveal the Novas and blink right next to them so that with one hit, I'll get all of them. Okay, of course, my units or our fellow units have to be nearby so that Zeratul is not being attacked in the beginning. Now, the game is stable. Okay, and if there are no ground units, check this out. I void prism some of these science vessels, and then I get splash damage to these. So you can kill air units this way. You can also trap Archangel this way too. Unfortunately, with the update, Archangel becomes kind of invisible when it flies. But just keep in mind that you can attack air units this way. This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to sneak underneath those carriers, slash out those hydras, and I'm not really after hydras, I'm after carriers. That's why I tend to keep my Zeratools underneath carriers so that I get damage, bonus splash damage upgrade. Now, there are angels on the bottom, and what I'm doing right now, I have 3 Zeratools, the game is stable, we are good on upgrades, the lanes are more or less balanced. So what it is now is that I can scout around and actually start sniping enemy heroes. This is what Zeratool is good for. Zeratool is very good at dealing with light units, especially ground units, and it's particularly awesome when it comes to killing enemy heroes. If you want to counter Zeratool, go air. It's better to go air. Now, I spotted there's a enemy Zeratool on the bottom. Now, their enemy Zeratool is trying to clean up top units, and battle cruisers are pretty good against Zeras because of that Yamada cannon. Now, here they are. They didn't expect me to show up, and boom, 2 Zeras are down. Broodlords are pretty good versus Zeratool too. I mean, they do a lot of damage to it. Battle cruisers are better. Novas are a good counter, and Banelings. All of these options have their drawbacks and their counters, but if you are faced with uneven distribution of Zeratools, which is what's happening in the game right now. Actually, me slaying those 2 Zeras puts me 3-1 ahead on the Zeratool scoreboard. That is a crucial part of the game because now I can rule the bottom with my Zeras. I can harass those Kerrigans. Couldn't do it, so I had to escape from being slaughtered by those carriers. You see, carriers are pretty good because, I'm not able to really harass those Kerrigans. I would jump through Immortals and I would jump through Archons. By the way, the reason that I keep Archons in the game is because they are very, very short range, which gives my Zeratools ability to approach enemy units really rather closely. And I filled up the gap with Stalkers. You would recall that, once my mid-bottom was wiped out, I had to fill in with Stalkers and Archons. Now, I sold some of these Stalkers and switched to Tempests. The reason for that is because Tempest has a very, very strong ability to stack. And since I have 3 Zeratools, I can deal with ground units, and in fact, I can help out with those Corruptors as well, since they have Hydra. If you're dealing with an imbalanced Zeratool gameplay, meaning you have less Zeratools than they have, it's good to have air, and it's a good idea to kill or salvage or swap all of those light units that give Zeratool free ride against air units. Now the game is stable and I had scanned the map. What I'm looking for is the number of heroes that they have, their movement patterns, the level of upgrades. Pretty much I'm looking for an opportunity to slash down their heroes. And they are looking for an opportunity to win the game. Now, our Odin has been killed. I checked it out, the reason for that, and it was lonely Zeratool at the bottom with a bunch of angels behind it. So I'm going to go and rush for the kill. Now, when you have the advantage and when you have an opportunity to slay down enemy heroes, be sure to maximize it to the full potential. Now, he has 5 Zeratools versus 3 Kerrigans. That, in my book, this is 3 Kerrigans down. not one. Okay, so what you want to do is to void prism all of those heroes and slash them, especially when there are friendly Kerrigans nearby that can assist you in killing them. Now, back to the game. Now these Odins are nuking. Now they trap this Odin. I figure it out. I capture Zeratul, and I'm going for Angels, but Angels I couldn't get, so I will finish off these Zeratul and chase after Angels. Kill one, don't have the Void Prism to grab other ones, and I'm not going to go within the nuke range, so I will fall back, relax, and split my Zeratuls. Because now they have one nuke to go and I have definite Zeratul advantage. So I can sacrifice two of my Zeratuls for forcing the last nuke and hopefully slashing some other heroes just like this one. Bye-bye Angel in the process. Back into safety. I will let my shields recharge and they're pushing forward with Odins. Here comes the Odin nuke. I'm gonna go chase after that Angel. Okay, Odin nuke comes down. There are a bunch of Kerrigans. I will chase after Kerrigans and they nuked. In my book, this nuke was weak and very wasteful because with 6.5 minutes to go, they simply don't have enough time to push both lanes to force the nuke or to win the game. So killing these Odins really didn't make a difference. What they should do is to keep an overtime in mind, because they took down useless Odins and they took only one of my Zeras. So I was successful in provoking that last nuke. Now I'm fortunate and blessed with the fact that I have 3 Zeratuls. So what I'm gonna do is, instead of, well, we'll get back to it. If you're using your units, your friendly heroes, as baits, make sure you're not sitting right on top of them. Make sure you're slightly behind, to the side, whatever. Make sure you're coming from an angle your enemy is not expecting you to. In this example, we have a lonely and very noobish or aggressive Kerrigan, very active on the bottom, and you can play off of it. So here we go. I come from a different angle. Zeratul of the enemy is chasing down Kerrigan. The outcome, I could have saved that Kerrigan, it didn't happen, but 1 Kerrigan for 3 Zeratuls. It's pretty good. There's plenty of time for us to recover, and I definitely have a Zeratul advantage. Now, here's the same moment one more time in slow motion. They chase after Kerrigan deep into our base, and they were not aware of where I was, simply because I was zigzagging through the map. Now back to the game. Instead of just forcing a nuke and be ahead on nukes going into overtime, I have now an advantage with my Zeratuls. I can clean out the remaining heroes and make sure my Zeratuls are not being dead, because with 5 minutes remaining, I can bet and make a very good bet that these Ultras and these Tempests are going to do a pretty good job of damaging their base. And I don't quite have the firepower to go against the Nexus and take him down. What I do have is the ability to keep our push alive and instruct. Now, when you kill enemy noob heroes, heroes of noob players, they will be disappointed and oftentimes quit in frustration, which brings down those units that they used to have to 0 level upgrades. And that accelerates your push. So the noob quits, Tempests survive, and the game is almost over. So have fun playing the game and win those games using Zeratuls. NW School. Subscribe, comment, suggest.